Hello everyone. Welcome to our Technique Tuesday. This is Linda at Linda Stamp and Escape. I'm a minute or two late here. Well, just a minute. Facebook decided to plant me the new Facebook, right when I started doing this. So, welcome everybody. I'm just going to wait a few minutes or a minute or two just to get a few more people online with us. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties here, but I can see that you can see what's up, so that's good. All right. So, tonight, I am going to show you how you can take any of our Stampin' Up! Ink colors and emboss with them. It's super simple, and you'll probably get another lesson in using the Stamparatus, because we're going to be doing a technique called the hinge technique tonight, and I'm just doing that because it's quick and it's fun and it's a great way to show you how you can do this technique embossing with your regular ink colors. So the stamp set I'm going to be using tonight is the Festive Corners. That is in the new mini catalog. If you didn't get yours, message me below and we can hook you up with that. I do have plenty here, so I would love to get a mini catalog in your hands. There's some beautiful Christmas sets in there, some fun Halloween, and this Festive Corners hits both of those markets, Halloween and Christmas. Then I'm going to add a greeting, and that's going to come from the Warm Hugs stamp set. This is a whole suite, by the way, but tonight we're just going to be using the So Very Merry in there. So, if you have joined me tonight, I would love it if you could say hello in the comment section or click a thumbs up. That would be wonderful. I would love to see you and hear from you. That would be great. Again, these are the two stamp sets we will be using: Festive Corners and Warm Hugs. And I'll be bringing out the Stamparatus and showing you how to set that up for this hinge technique. When you are embossing with any color, and you could, tonight we're using Old Olive and Real Red, but you could also do Night of Navy, or you could do the Bermuda Bay. You could do any color you want from any of the color families. That's what's so fun about this technique. You don't have to spend hundreds of dollars on multiple different colors of embossing powders, because you can create just using your inks and our little friend Versamark. So these two are going to pair together so that you can emboss any color ink you want. So let's put these aside. And I'm just going to move this out of the way. My hands will probably be all over the place here. See this beautiful ribbon? We're also using that tonight. That is also in that mini catalog. So I'm just going to quick give this a roll up here, and we'll pull that out later. Okay. And page 66 is where you will find festive corners. That's a fun one. I bought it just to decorate my envelopes with. And then when I said I was going to do this technique, I went, oh man, I know exactly what I'm going to show you tonight. So let's put this aside. And I am going to bring out my Stamparatus here. I have a feeling my hands are going to be in your way most of the time. I hope not. Okay. See this little one here? This is what happens when you don't protect your magnets and they snap together. Oops, they break. So I believe I said this earlier, but I do use duct tape. You know, the thing that men use to fix everything. Well, now we know why, because this works great. I have enough to lift with that won't rip off like the washi tape, and it works really nice. So that's what I use. I'm going to set that over here and this one over here. And I'm not sure where I even put my sample card, so we might have to work all the way through this one. When I decided how to create my card, I like to work with my pieces all the way up to the tops or tucked in the corner. That way I have less movement. When you put them like in the center, does it work? Yes. And will your magnets hold them? Yes. But I just like to be a little bit more careful, you know, a little bit of a worry wart. I don't know if it comes with being a mom or a grandma, but there it is. So we're going to set this up here. But first, before we do all that, I'm just going to show you, this is just a piece of graph paper. This is for sale in the catalog. This mat comes with your Stamparatus. And then this is the silicone mat that I use when I do gluing with the hot glue gun, or you can even use it when you're working with your adhesives, because if it dries, you can just pick it back off, or I use it with my snail or the new adhesive, which I haven't tried yet, but I will shortly. So we're going to tuck this in because our stamp set is photopolymer. When you use the red rubber, you do not need this piece, but when you use photopolymer, then you will need to use this mat. And then I just put my paper over there for two reasons. One is to protect my mat. I don't want it all full of ink. And two, it helps me line everything up. Okay, so tonight I'm basically working with one plate. And normally I work from the right side, but today I'm going to work from the top. And when you put these in, you want to go straight up and down. Can you see that? Okay, you're just catching that. All right, I'm going to bring this back just a little bit. Okay, and we're going to be moving this. So when you're moving, and this is one of the biggest benefits of our stamp positioner as this moves. That's the cool part about this. But you want to make sure that you have an open edge and not one of the corners that is closed. So you could use this one as well. So these are removable and they can go either way, but you can go this way, but not that way, if that makes sense. All right, so we want to line this up. Now, the fun part about the hinge technique is it does allow for easy placement. Let me just tuck my stamp set under here. I use that so I can ink up a little better. And here, we're going to use the Mary. So what I'm going to do is my hinge is here and here. So you can pick any stamp that is within that hinge size. So I am going to stamp 5 Marys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just drew a little line, or I'm going to go in between these two, I should say. I didn't draw any line anywhere. I'm going to use this top line here, this little dotted line, to start putting positioning my stamp. So I'm going to position it between the hinge, and then I'm going to use my paper here as my guide to align my stamp. So I can see that the little line goes all the way down through here. So now what I'm going to do is bring my plate and we're going to pick this up. All right. Wonderful. Now what I want to do, I'm going to have to scoot for a second. And I just wanted to grab a scratch piece of paper. And I'm going to set that down in there. And then I'm going to open up my real red because that's the color I'm going to use first. And I open mine up like a makeup. Like powder or whatever you want to call it. Makeup. I don't wear much anymore, so oh my gosh. Anyway, so that's how I open it. And then we're just going to slide this so I have better grip. Some people like to use the little spots, and you can buy them uninked, so you can make them in any color you want as well. And those are really nice for traveling. However, today I'm just using our regular ink pad. All right, so now I'm just going to tap this on here and ink up my Mary. And then I'm going to just bring this down and stamp it. And then I can see right here, notice that my Mary is right in between these two lines. How sweet is that? So now I know my words are straight, so I won't have to reposition those at all. Plus I left it down far enough so they have a little space on the top. All right. So now I'm ready to put my cardstock in there. This piece is 3 3/4 by 5. And we're going to do the 5 inches across here. And you probably don't know if you can see from this angle, but it does fall between my 5 hinges with just maybe a 1/16 or an 1/8 of an inch on each side. So while I have that placed, I'm going to put my magnet down here. Let's get that down. And then I'm going to tuck another magnet in, that little bitty one, the broken guy. See, he's still useful. And I'm going to tuck him between the 2 hinges because I know this is where I'm stamping. So that won't bother that at all. Okay? Now, we are going to get ready and ink up our first word. Not our first word, our first time. All right, bring this over. Give it a little press. Nice for my first one. Okay, straight up and down. And we're going to lift this out, and not 1, but 2, we're going to move this one over. And then we're going to re-ink. Bring it back. And you won't have to worry if you get a little ink on there because that will not smear on your cardstock. Okay, now I missed my Y, so I'm going to have to go back, re-ink that a little bit, and I basically just did the Y, and I'm going to push that down. There we go, much nicer. Again, straight up and down. Now we're going to move it 2 spots all the way to the edge. And ink up our last For our last one, we're going to do 3 in the real red. Push that down. And then I'm just going to set that there because we need to clean off the stamp. Sorry for the delay. I actually had to hop up and grab my stamp cleaner. So I have a little spritzer here that I keep just for water, and you can't see this, but I gave this a little spritz of water. So I'm going to take that and dab up my ink. You notice I'm not rubbing back and forth, and that's because I don't want any, if I rub like this, especially if I rub hard, you may get little pools of water, and we don't want that on our ink pad. And then if you want, just clean up any of that little red that you got around there. Okay. Now we're going to pick this up again and move it just once. Drop that back. And we are going to open up the old olive. And we are going to ink up our Mary again. Let's get that all inked. I know it looks like a funny color. And yes, the reds do stain your photopolymer, but that's okay. They just look loved. I'm going to do that Y just one more time. There we go. Looks better. Pick this up. Move it over 2 spots. We're going to ink up our Mary in the old olive one more time. You can kind of see where I'm going with this now, can't you? There you go. Most of the cards I have created have pretty much gone from top to bottom. Never quite did it this way yet, at least not with wording. But I just wanted to try something different. Isn't that the fun of it? So wipe that off. We're going to clean this up nice. Get all that off of there. I'm going to go a little spritz on the back of this. And then I'm just going to go over this one more time just to make sure I'm getting up. Oh, sorry, I'm really shaking my camera. All this excess ink there. All right. So now we got that cleaned off. Let's move this back to position 1. Okay. Now we're going to come in with our Versamark, and we're going to ink up our Mary. Want it nice and juicy. And since I'm live, I hope I have this. This is the beauty of the stamp positioner. How cool is that? It's going exactly in the same spots that I had stamped earlier. And we're just going to now take our Versamark ink and go over all 5 Marys. I might have to go over that first one again. It doesn't look like I got quite enough on. Again, that is the best reason. I should say one. There are many reasons why you are going to fall in love with this stamp apparatus. Stamp positioning is just one. The hinge technique is another. And there are so many more techniques. Okay, we're going to lay that down. Push that in. And I got to get a different angle there. So from here, I can't see whether I got enough Versamark on there or not. So little tilt of the head and got it. This one I'm going to do the very first one more time because I don't think I got full coverage on there. So let's do that. Drop that down. All right. Now we're going to pull this out just so I can clean it later. And this comes off and this comes off. All right. We're going to move our Stamparatus out of the way. And I am going to grab my clear embossing powder. Now my clear I use a lot, so I just keep it in a little airtight container. And I just dip it. Dip it, and make sure you get enough of that embossing powder on there. All right. I'll get that out of our way. And now I hope you can hear me over the heat gun, but I want you to watch how that dull color turns into a shiny, bright image. This is the technique right here, embossing, that got me hooked into stamping 20 years ago. The demonstrator I went to see, all she did was emboss a gold leaf onto a black piece of paper, and I was hooked. That's all it took. And I said, oh, let me book a party. And I got to tell you, before I knew it, my sister and I were talking about, you know what? We can do this. Let's do this. Let's just buy the starter kit. Oh, and speaking of starter kits, we have a great special on our starter kits right now. They're giving you 2 free stamp sets and 16 pre-cut cards and envelopes so that you can either invite your friends over and start to stamp, or so that you can host your first workshop, whichever you want to do. I just call it a gathering of friends. Okay, so now you can see, I'm hoping you can get this, how shiny and how beautiful that is. And it adds extra texture to your card. All right, we are going to take our old olive. This is our base. And I had to grab my adhesive because it fell in the garbage can. That's not good. So we're going to put adhesive on. I know some of you are wincing right now because you're going, oh, look at how much adhesive she puts on. But I like to make sure my cards stick, and they will. All right, and get that nice and lined up there before I push it down. There we go. And sometimes I take my block and go over it, because with a little burnishing, then you know for sure that that adhesive is definitely going to stick. Okay. Now, I am going to put some adhesive on the back here. And measure out my ribbons. A little bit too much with that green. So if your cardstock is like 5 inches, then 7 inches for sure, I would say. Length here, most of the time I don't measure. I am going to put the real red on the top, and I will have a list of ingredients, and the step-by-step instructions on my blog tomorrow. So if you want to hop on over there, you'll also be able to watch the video again over there. Okay, so see, I just tacked that on there. And again, I am going to rub that right into there. Now, what I'm going to be doing with this is putting our dimensionals on there. My apologies, I had to run and get them. Okay, so I like to put my dimensionals right over the top of my ribbons, and then I know that they will be sticking down there forever and a day. And it doesn't bother me to use this many dimensionals either. I don't like my cards to get that little warpy look, so I like to put them onto the back, and they're so inexpensive. It's one of the most inexpensive, cool things you can do for your cards. All right, so now we can put this here, and we are going to cut our ribbon again, little chunk off of here. I'm going to slide this underneath right here, and then I'm going to tie these two together. Now I'm not going to tie them really tight yet because I want to put my greeting on here, and I'm not sure where it's going to go yet, only because I noticed a little smudge over here. So I think I'm going to cover that little smudge up. So how we doing there so far, ladies? Are you liking the hinge technique? Feel free to put a comment in. If you like this video, share it with your friends. That is all right with me. All right. Now, I am going to set that aside for a minute because we are going to make our little greeting. And I, again, am going to use the Old Olive and the Real Red, and I'm going to be using it actually on the same stamp, and this is where the warm hugs come in. I am not sure where I put my punch. So anyways, I'll show you how I did this, and then I will show you the finished card. So on this here, I hope you can see this. I actually took two pieces. I took the So Very Merry and this cute little design, and I put them together. Gosh, that's what I like about the photopolymers. So, and they're so easy to see. So I am going to take this, and actually I'm going to do it this way. All right. And I hope you can see this as I do it, because I am going to just go with the very edge of my ink pad, and I am going to ink that up. All right. Then I am going to turn that around, and I'm going to, putting these two together did give me enough space in between that I could ink them up. You can do this with markers, but just know that you can do this with your ink pads as well. You might as well get as much use as you can out of your ink pads. All right. And then we're going to stamp that nice and firm. Look at that. Perfect. All right. Set that aside. We're going to grab our embossing powder. Now look, you're coloring two at once. So fun. Now 40 plus, almost 50 different ink colors that you can emboss. All with that nice little Versamark pad. You gotta love it. You're going to watch it go from dull to shiny. Now, in reality, you can over emboss. And over embossing means that what used to be shiny went dull again. And it will. That means it's just soaking right up into the paper. So you don't want to over emboss. All right. Now I took my 1.5 inch punch and I actually punched that out. Oh, no, I didn't. I used my scallop punch, my 1 3/8 inch scallop. There we go. How's that? Perfect. All right. There is our little, who said your fingers don't get inky? Mine always do. So there is our little greeting. I love circles because you can't go wrong. It's always aligned. All right. And that is going to go on to our card. And like I said, I will probably put mine here. Then I have a second base, which is real red. And that gets adhered directly to my Whisper white base. So when your card is all finished, it's going to look like this. So now you can see. And when I first started doing this, I thought, oh my gosh, that looks so plain. But once you see that shine from the embossing and that little bit of glitz from your ribbons, it's just really pretty. And then you have dimension because we popped up the old olive piece onto our real red. So you got both your colors going, very Christmassy. And I could not pass up after Mary, 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 Mary. My card is so very merry. So what do you think? How are you liking this technique? I would love to hear from you. Tell me what you think. Again, feel free to share this with your friends. Oh my goodness. I forgot to grab my little door prize tonight because I always have a little prize and we pick a random name. I use this little spinny game I found online and I put everybody's name in and then I hit go and it spins. Ladies, if I can find a way to get that little thing on our page, I will do it just so you can join in the fun with me. And then it just stops on the winner's name and it just goes, woo, you have won. It's so cute. Lord, I think I left it upstairs in my living room. How do you like that? Well, you keep commenting because I can tell you what it is. It is the new in color dots, the little enamel dots, and they are in the new in colors. So that is what you are going to get if your name gets picked from everybody who has made comments tonight. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation, learning how to emboss any color with your Versamark and learning the hinge technique with the Stamparatus. And you can find your Stamparatus on page 164 of the catalog. If you have any questions on anything you saw, feel free to put a comment in the comment section and I will answer you after this presentation. And I am so happy you joined me tonight. Thanks again and good luck to everyone. You have a good night. Thank you.